Hi guys, Pete Mazzares, Detailed Home Inspections, Cleveland, Ohio. I own a full-service inspection company in Cleveland, Ohio. We specialize in inspecting income properties for out-of-town, out-of-country, out-of-state investors. And so today's topic is sewer lines. Okay, so Cleveland properties that are income properties built in the late 1800s all the way up through 1940s. Typically, those are the high ROI properties in Cleveland that are Class C or below properties that a lot of investors are attracted to because of the high cash flow. So these properties were constructed back in the day with sewer lines from the bottom of the house in the basement out to the street in clay tile. And so clay tile is very brittle. I have links on my website, dhicle.com, Detailed Home Inspections, Cleveland, Ohio, where you can see our sewer camera videos of these sewer lines. And so these sewer lines, being 100 years old, are susceptible to many things such as breaking, cracking, offsetting, and getting destroyed or damaged by tree roots. And so when that happens, at the worst opportune time, you get a call, or your property management company gets a call from the tenant saying that the sewer line is backed up. Sewer's coming up in the basement. Okay, it's backing up into the basement. Isn't that great? And so that's a mess, and you have to get a emergency plumber over there and pay emergency plumbing fees to get the line cleared. And more often than not, they're going to tell you that the reason why you have the blockage is because there's either tree roots that have intruded into the sewer line, and they intrude because these clay tile ends pieces are 2 to 4 feet and butted up end to end, okay, with a lip like this, okay, and then through these ends tree roots get in, okay. Or you could have a shifting for whatever causes the shifting, so that you have a lip. And so when you have a lip like this, sewer line is angled down towards the street, and so water and debris will get caught at the lip depending on how large the lip is. We call that an offset. Other problems are like bellies, where the sewer line is like this, okay? So it's not a constant incline to the street. And so what that does, obviously, is collect water and debris and fill up and cause a backup. So what happens is that property owners, even owner-occupiers, as well as landlords, end up having to, call the plumber out and have the line sewer jetted if possible, or snaked, okay, and pay a few $100s each time to do that. And so then at some point it becomes a burden to do that, and you have to bite the bullet and replace the sewer line with PVC Schedule 40 drain tile, right? And so that's not cheap. That's good several thousand to $12,000 to do, depending on how far back the house is from the street. And so I highly recommend that when you do your due diligence, whether the property is vacant or occupied, is that you have that sanitary sewer line video camera inspected. Of course, we offer that. It's an additional $250 with a home inspection. And if we can get into that sewer line from the basement, there would have to be a clean out access on the cast iron main drain stack, because all these homes, unless they've been rehabbed, are going to have a cast iron main drain that goes from the roof vent all the way down through the all floors of the property and all the way down through the basement and down into that clay tile sewer line that then travels out to the main sewer line, sanitary sewer line in the street. Now, don't confuse the sanitary sewer line with the storm sewer drain line. So the storm sewer is a separate drain system for the gutters and the footer drains, okay, which if present, okay, not all homes have footer drains, okay, back in the late 1800s, there weren't any footer drains. They just built the houses with huge limestone, sandstone type block foundations. But at some point in Cleveland's history, they started putting drain tiles down, which are simply, pipes, clay tile pipes, of course, that went around the perimeter of the foundation to help carry water away from the basement. Okay, and so by now they're all broken, cracked, filled up, and so that's why all these basements are damp. Okay, we don't inspect those. Okay, that's a whole nother rabbit hole to get into. Drain lines that are for stormwater, such as the lines that are for the footer drains and for the downspout drains. Okay, so I'm not talking about cameraing those. Of course, those being a problem to some degree, of varying degrees, could result in how wet the basement is, and that's a topic for another video, but let's stick to the sanitary sewer line. So if there's a clean out access cap in the basement, and here's a pro tip, if there's a new clean out access T in the basement on a cast iron stack, that means more than likely there was a problem at some point where a plumber had to cut into that stack, because not all these drain stacks had cleanouts installed in them. Okay, cleanouts were an afterthought as the homes were being constructed through each decade in Cleveland. So I don't know, maybe half the homes don't have cleanouts, but if the home that you're looking at does, and it was newly installed, that's a red flag to us, because we feel, based on our experience, that that T with the clean out was installed in that vertical cast iron drain stack because there was a problem in the drain line. And it was the only way that the plumbers could get into the sewer line and clear it. And if that problem was there to begin with, it might still be there. So that's a great reason to have the sewer line checked with a camera. Another reason is when there's large mature trees in the front yard, or the tree line. The tree line is the space between the street and the sidewalk. So, brilliant name, the tree line. And so trees in Cleveland over the years are painted in the tree line. And guess what? Those trees become very mature, and the roots of those trees then get into the sewer lines and cause problems, okay? And so those are very common things that we see, that if we see those things, we're gonna recommend a sewer camera inspection, okay, whether you hired us to do it or not. And so if we can't get into that sewer line from the basement because there's no clean out access installed, on one hand, that might be, good news, because maybe there's never been a problem with that sewer line. But on the other hand, it's 100 years old and who knows, okay? If the home is occupied, okay, with tenants, of course, we ask the tenants if they have any sewer problems. And most tenants are happy to tell us, if they have. Otherwise, if it's vacant, who knows, okay? that in that case, I would recommend hiring a plumber to see if they can get into the sewer line by digging into it from the outside, or perhaps the sewer line enters from the street. So since we're not plumbers, we're not going to do that. We're only going to go into the sewer line if we have access. So um, I recommend it if you're an investor. You know, one of the things that is not going to be covered by any home inspection agreement that you sign for any home inspector is underground drains. Okay, we don't know the condition of any underground drain unless we observe a backup during the inspection. And so we can run all the water that we want. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be a problem, because we're not sticking debris. I'm not going to define debris, use your imagination, uh, down the sewer lines, okay, from the toilets. And so that debris gets hung up on roots and offsets. Okay, not the water. The water flows. And so um, that's my viewpoint of, uh, wanting to let you know that I think it's important that you know that condition of the sewer line. So otherwise, it could be a ticking time down for you. Okay, so hope that was helpful.